Oh, hello. Good evening. So, I'm going to do supplication to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and then read a Heart Sutra, and then we will sit and meditate. Om no zinam dharajinam rupe, taji juji jina jubayi, sangi judangi du papeso, kuna chaseta cha, tashi shu de meji bazit. Shambhiji Bekara Padamba, Kunangumbo Jeji Rubaja, Lumbudra Bazara Pedane, Simjatum Jalagum to Pepe, Yizum Zepa, Setup Double Day, Senzum de Bidji. Devarji Bagala Jazalo, Jambejano, Padento Jize, Cheres Wangumbo Jampepe, say Nibutuban, Brazil, the Minion Bopa Jokunduzang, Ubetuji Pega Nujina, Nubuta Water. Chazalanum Daji Pegajo, Chanchu Sambagala, Chazaro, Tinju Taji Sirgina, the Jumbozayung. Ninadunda Punzo Baby, Minugese, when you call out the Rinjitaji, Chada, to do watch Jima, the song water. Trashi Hamugera, Chazaro, Samba Chimbo, the Jung Sumepo, Migdoda Yapo Yukusung, Pagabodano. Num Tezzel has a color down, the Jola Dono, Jose, be water, the Chitangas and the Sasumna Soak electricity, Chitango Wagala. Dajet in the Ravazambala, Getanya, what is about Kunjini, the Bebe, some deviation to Tashi de Lepus of Porsche, Dajet in the Ravaz. Getanya, what is about Kunjini, the Bebe, some deviation to Tashi de Lepus of Porsche, Dajet in the Ravazambala, Getanya, what is about Kunjini, the Bebe, some deviation to Tashi de Lepus, so Parisho. The Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge. Did you put it on? Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha at Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of the Sangha of monks and a great gathering of the Sangha of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi that expressed the Dharma called profound illumination. And at the same time, Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, while practicing the profound Paramita, saw in this way. He saw the five skandhas to be empty of nature. Then through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice the profound Paramita? Addressed in this way, Noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to Venerable Shariputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound Paramita should see in this way. Seeing the five skandha to be empty of nature, form is emptiness, emptiness is also form. Emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. They are no characteristic. There is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dharmas, no eye dhatu up to no mind dhatu, no dhatu of dharmas, and no mind consciousness dhatu, no ignorance, no end of ignorance up to no old age and death, no end of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since the Bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by means of Paramita. Since there is no obscuration on mind, there is no fear. They transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas of the three times, by means of Paramita, fully awaken to the unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra of Paramita, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequal mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering, should be known as truth. Since there is no deception, the Pajna Paramita mantra is said in this way. Tayata gate gate para sam gate bodhe soha. Tayata gate gate para sam gate bodhe soha. Tayata gate gate para sam gate bodhe soha. Thus Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, should train in the profound Pajna Paramita. Then the Blessed One arose from the Samadhi and praised noble Avalokeshvara. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva saying, good, good, O son of noble family, thus it is, O son of noble family, thus it is. One should practice the profound Pajna Paramita just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One has said this, the Venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokeshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, the whole assembly and the world with gods, human, asuras, and Gandharvas rejoice and praise the words of the Blessed One. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha, homage to the Great Mother, perfection of wisdom. May my words of truth be accomplished, just as previously when Kaushika, sovereign of the Devas, relied on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom to turn back the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence. So too do I rely on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom. May the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence be turned back, annihilated, pacified, utterly pacified. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha, homage to the Great Mother, perfection of wisdom. May my words of truth be accomplished, just as previously when Kaushika, sovereign of the Devas, relied on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom to turn back the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence. So too do I rely on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom. May the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence be turned back, annihilated, pacified, utterly pacified. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dharma, homage to the Sangha, homage to the Great Mother, perfection of wisdom. May my words of truth be accomplished, just as previously when Kaushika, sovereign of the Devas, relied on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom to turn back the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence. So too do I rely on reciting and contemplating the profound meaning of the perfection of wisdom. May the demon of ego and negative habits and all harmful influence be turned back, annihilated, pacified, utterly pacified. Whatever occurs in dependence upon interconnectedness is unceasing and unborn, uninterrupted and impermanent, neither comes nor goes, neither has multiple meaning nor a single meaning, is the complete pacification of elaboration, the manifestation of peace, homage to the sacred speech of the completely awakened Buddha. 좀는데 바로 공부지든 잡에 연어져서로 관계로들이 미드닝이 담다르세베 징이도 진지니거든. 마다세바사라 모데문데도 기세베 도서고나 부지도 생겨나도 징이도 송 두드르저로 녀모녀로 레거저 지지 머리무지도 우리 징어저러. 또니서지서지도 내인데는 계속 되고 주단주도 주인이나 다른 모습 점퍼리 연어도 엄마라부서나데 머르부나데 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 머르부나 Umarapasanade, Marapasanade, Marapanade, 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 Marapasanade, Marapanade, Marapanade, Marapanade. Marapasanade, 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 Marapanade, Marapasanade, Marapanade, Marapasanade, Marapanade, Marapasanade, Marapanade, Marapanade. Marapasanade, Marapanade, 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 Marapasanade, Marapanade, Marapasanade, Marapanade, Marapasanade. 고름다지지지지바 우베드나 셔럽레트넘 레바제메제메치고 공보제베 연어차서도 콘셉트버도 보험 조세주버 공보제메딩이 개메 버리어 통와르쇼 So tonight, meditation evening, as we do it always Thursday evening, it's very special. It is special because whenever we do Dharma, it's special, first of all. I don't need to tell you that, but just want to remind you that in case if you miss that. As it is said, the Dharma is good at the beginning because the words of the Dharma is good and the meaning of Dharma is good at the beginning. And the words and meaning of the Dharma is good in the middle. And the words and meaning of the Dharma is good at the end because we achieve realization, liberation from this cyclic existence of unceasing samsara. The unceasing samsara, which we know as an existence of suffering. So finding liberation from the existence of suffering is to the state of liberation, or what is known in Sanskrit, nirvana. And that's the place that can be only achieved through hearing the Dharma and reflecting on the Dharma, and then finally realization that we achieve from the Dharma. So the three kinds of knowledge. The knowledge first comes through hearing, studying, and then secondly is knowledge that we gain through introspecting, investigation, reflection on the meaning of the words, and experience. And thirdly, the knowledge and the wisdom we gain through actual practice of meditation, or actual practice of bodhicitta, actual practice of relative bodhicitta as well as absolute bodhicitta. That in terms, that knowledge gain and that we realize through actual practice. So actual practice experience and the theory knowledge is quite different. It's like, you learn about how to make some scientific discovery, or let's say learning about how to make a rocket, as well as actually making a rocket. The nuts and bolts, every minute technical aspect which involved is quite different than the theory part. But of course, without the theory part, you can't get to the practical aspect. But the experience and knowledge you gain through the experiential level is quite different than the theory part. Same thing in the practice of Dharma too. First you gain the knowledge through study. And then secondly, you reflect on the meaning. And thirdly, you have gained direct experience to those knowledge, awakening experience. And these three levels is so important in order to become a successful Dharma practitioner. Without these three steps, knowledge is like a finger, knowledge is like a hand. Without a finger or without a hand, let's say, you can't really climb a mountain. You can think about climbing a mountain, but it's quite different. In practicality, you want to climb a mountain, you need to be equipped with the hand and the 5 fingers, that you can crawl on the rocks and catch on. Same thing, first you need to think about like climbing the mountain. Then you actually engage in the practice. Then finally you reach the top. Same thing, first you need to have the knowledge of the Dharma. What is Dharma? And that is really like, Buddha Dharma is so profound. There are 2 aspects of Buddha Dharma. In the Tibetan word, it's called Gyachewatang Tingzapa. Gyacheva means the expansion of infinity of the Dharma. And then Tingzapa means the depthness of the Dharma, the profundity of the Dharma, the profundity, depth of the Dharma, and the expansion and the infinite expansion of the Dharma, like so many aspects, is so vast like a sky, and deep, profound like an ocean. Those are the two parts of the Dharma. And the reason why the vastness of the Dharma and the depth of the Dharma is not some kind of story or some kind of idea, that one is making it up. It is based on your thoughts and emotion. As vast as your thoughts and emotions are there, as vast as like methods how to deal with those infinite and expansive thoughts and emotions, accordingly there is an antidote for each and every aspect. For example, in the Hinayana teaching, the basic Buddhist teaching, which is, how to deal with the three poison. The antidote for ignorance is interdependence. The antidote for aggression is gentleness. The antidote for attachment is turning the mind away from where the mind is caught up in those attachments, such as the visualization of ugliness or visualization of some impurity, seeing the nature of impurity, so their minds get turned away from that attachment. So each one of those antidotes, as well as 84,000 passions and neuroses, there are 84,000 passions and antidote, you could say. So infinite, infinite wisdom and antidote for infinite neurosis, afflictive emotions. So, though there are, it is hard to learn, a different emotion antidotes. You could learn, but it'll be like, probably take many lifetimes. So then it's almost like, okay, how do I deal with this fantasy? How do I deal with this imagination? How do I deal with this particular emotion and that thought? So it'll be like infinite. So if you are going to find an antidote, to each one of them, that'll be like almost exhausting and really hard. If you say it's not possible, yes, there is always a possible. For example, we try to do that in many ways, day-to-day life situation. We try to deal with our problems by thinking in this way or thinking in that way, or trying to bring this antidote, in relationship with this situation. And when people, if you don't feel like you have the capacity to deal with the emotion, then you go to psychologists or psychiatrists. And when the psychologist, also he or she no longer feels that they ran out of ideas, then they put you in a pill and so knock you out or, subdue you, whatever. So that's how we try to deal with thoughts and emotions and history and childhood and all the rest, of our human story, human existence experience. So now the great wisdom of Buddha is, it's in the Heart Sutra, it shows, Heart Sutra is expressing the wisdom of thatness. So wisdom of that is something very unique to Buddhism. This wisdom of thatness is not in any other tradition, which is the wisdom of emptiness, shunyata. The wisdom of shunyata is very unique to Buddhism. So therefore, it is very deep at the same time to understand that and to realize it's furthermore deeper. But therefore, Buddha said, you need the 3 stages of knowledge. If it's so simple, you don't need to go through these 3 stages of knowledge. Because it's so deep, first you need the knowledge of the hearing, then you need the knowledge of the reflection, and thirdly you need the knowledge of realization through practical, because it's very deep. And so, and where does this, phenomenal, we are trying to discover reality, the whole point we are trying to see the truth, in one word, or we are trying to see reality, which is both the same meaning, truth or reality, pretty much one coin with 2 sides. So when it comes to reality, then we have a perception at the moment. And our perception at the moment, it feels very real, And why not just leave it that way? The question is, why make it matter so confusing, this way of looking at reality, that way of looking at reality. Why not just simply, just one Christianity instead of saying Seventh-day Adventist, Protestant, way of looking at, Catholic way of looking at, and you name it, how many other denominations within Christianity. Why not just simply one way, how Jesus said, that's it? Well, it's not, simple as that, because so many levels of perception. Then why not just in the Islam, just like what about, Allah expressed, but then there is Shias, and then there is Sunnis, and then there are many other school, and they have all, differences within Islam too. Then why not just in, in Hinduism? There's so many different schools in Hinduism. Then, in the Sikhism, you name it, any thoughts which came into existence in this universe, there's not one single definition of agreement. All this agreement has been difference even within, let's say, within one family, whether it's a family of Christianity, whether it's a family of Hinduism, whether it's a family of Hinduism, whether it's a family of Buddhism, whether it's a family of Sikhism, or even in communism, how many different factions are there? The Mao Party, and this communist, the Leninist, all the rest, and same thing, within a political party, a democratic, social democratic, this democratic, and all the rest. There's so many varieties. Why not just, if things are, why not leave things as it is if things are so simple? It just simply doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work that we can all come to, agreeing to one perception. India and China have this border called, line of control. There's a 3 level. There's called line of control, and there's line of actual control, and international border. Why not just make it one border? That's it. It just doesn't work that way, you see. So all this different level of perception, where it is originating? The question is, why we have why we need to go through the different level of perception? Because it's not as simple as leaving things as it is. Okay, here things are, and why not just leave it that way? Because we can't agree, different perception, different thoughts, different emotion, and we can't suppress them. We have to respect all of them. And that'll be the compassionate way to deal with it. His Holiness Dalai Lama said he tried to bring religious harmony, that respect all of them, because they're all very helpful to all beings. So we need to, have a holistic approach. Holistic approach is respect all, but then go through one's own, discovering one's own thing, that is how you discover the truth and reality. That is entirely, your responsibility. Your liberation is very important, but only you can do that. No one else can do that for you. Your confusion is not good. You also know it's not good. You don't agree with your confusion. However, it is only you can undo that confusion. No one else can do. So therefore, all those different levels of studies are very important. On what stages your mind is to study. And you need a totally open mind to do that. If your mind is already made up, biased, you can't really see the truth. So you need to totally open up yourself and to see what it is there. So then the interesting thing part, as we were talking, why not leave the appearance as it is? Okay, here's, ice cream, here's the table, just leave it that way. The world is simple and straightforward. But it's not as straightforward as I was just explaining earlier. What is called the conventional appearance. All the problem agreement and disagreement come from a conventional appearance or relative truth. That's the conventional truth or the conventional appearance. Then that relative truth, when you begin to take the relative truth as something eternal or something inherent existence, something real, then you are wrong. Because there is no inherent existence or eternal in the appearance. Our disagreement all come because we taking the appearance too seriously. We fall into an extreme of seeing things as something which is so fluid and open. We are not seeing interdependence. We are seeing that rather as independent existence rather than interdependent existence. If we can see interdependence, then we also see emptiness. The emptiness can only make sense and so clear when you see interdependence. If you don't see interdependence, you don't see emptiness. The emptiness will never fall into a meaningful at all if you don't see interdependence. Because independence have no emptiness. They are contradictory, independence and emptiness. And when you look at, I'm not saying, you think of yourself as like a Buddhist. Don't think of yourself as anything. Just a simple mind awareness in a person. You see the nature of all phenomena is interdependence. It's not an invention of Buddha and Bodhisattvas. It is not just any fabrication that they say is interdependence. We all experience, we all know the phenomena is interdependent. We all know our thoughts are interdependent. We all know that for us to survive, we need the social support, interdependence. And we all know that is never a fabrication nor lie, is the truth of the reality is interdependence. So if it's interdependence, then is devoid of independence. That which is devoid of independence, that which is interdependent, because it's interdependent, because it's emptiness. Because it's emptiness, therefore is interdependent. This is really the profound meaning of the Dharma. That's what the Heart Sutra is speaking about. So the quarrel is only there when we begin to see the appearance as something so real. But there is no quarrel if you see interdependence, because there are so many manifestations, and the manifestation of all this essence of all this manifestation is emptiness. You see? So therefore, that is what Buddha in the Heart Sutra was trying to explain. Now then, within the emptiness, this topic gets really, really deep, Then we can say, within emptiness, we can kind of look at it as the objective emptiness, or sometimes it's called objective clear light, as well as subjective clear light. Objective clear light is, the emptiness of the table, emptiness of the chair, emptiness of the mountain, emptiness of the house. The objective clear light, meaning its essence, its nature is emptiness. And the subjective, now objective clear light, today quantum physics theory is also realizing that objectively there's nothing you can posit as anything independent. That there's, because objective clear light in relationship to the atoms and molecule, you don't see any inherent independent structure as independent state, but all the structures are mere probability or mere, all the structures are actually a mental projection. Because objectively, when you investigate, it doesn't really exist there. When you see the atom, when you break up the atom into all 10 directions, there's nothing you can finally hold on to, nothing. Ultimately, you can't hold on to it. But yet, things appear, so you just kind of base, okay, there is an atom. Most of us in our mind, because of our grasping and attachment from so many lifetimes, we like to think something do exist. But in the quantum physics theory too, in Buddhism, that's been discovered like more than 2,600 years ago. But today, modern science, quantum physics theory, objectively, there's nothing you can pinpoint as independent state. So if it's really not really there, then it really comes to your mental projection, which then comes to the observer. So now, as far as the observer is concerned, then is the next stage, which gets so subtle. And that study, I think, is just in this late 20th century, now science is beginning to study, there's something called mind consciousness, which is impact on the brain. So there's a whole different study going on. But when we see, how how we see our dreams, and wake-up state, a dream state, actually is really in the mind. It's not as real as we think it is when you really investigate, and you should investigate when you really look into it. However, right now, as long as it is, according to the Madhyamika teaching, middle path teaching, it says, as long as you don't analyze, you don't investigate, things seems to be, exist, this is white, this is blue. But the moment you look into deeper, you can't really grasp onto as existence of that particular independent state. There isn't anything that you can hold on to. But yet we experience something in common, this world, as long as we live, whatever our lifespan would be, like 80 or 90 or 100 years, we will all commonly share a certain experience together as United States and Europe and Asia and this and that, this world phenomena. But then deep inside, some may like this, some may have like different feeling to this world, some even get to the suicide, they want to kill themselves. Some just have different perception, based on our karmic change. So according to the karmic change, our value and our feeling, like on a personal feeling, whether it's friendship or whether family, whatever we have, the feeling changes, or we go through the emotions and thought, because there's nothing objectively as something so real. But yet we grasp to that. So the grasping is, when you really look at the nature of the grasper, when you look at the nature of what you are trying to grasp, you don't feel it, you don't see any inherent existence in that. And when you look at the nature of the grasper too, you don't find, So therefore, the true truths are defined in Buddhist teaching so, in a vast way that conventionally things do exist, but on an unconventional level, they do not, as what it seems to be, it do not exist as it seems to be. So there are two poles. Appearance-wise, one exists, and another level, it doesn't exist. I think whether one may call that or not, in the Christianity too, why there's Catholic and why there's Protestant, why there's Seventh-day Adventists, because they all do not agree on one appearance. The phenomena is not in an existence, and when we try to posit that is something independent existence, that's where all the clashes happen, that's where the war happens, that's where the extremism happens, that's where factionalism comes. That's the whole problem. We lose the utter openness of phenomena, nature. So anyway, so the true truths, I think you should study more conventional truth and unconventional truth, relative truth versus absolute truth. So now, earlier we talked about if we have to find a different antidote to each and every one of our thoughts, it'll be almost impossible, it'll be almost limitless. Is there? Yes. As I said, we go through psychologists, we go to psychiatrists, we go to this, advice from elderly on that, friends, and trying to input all their ideas and then try to see, okay, now, my problem is this, I try to get over it, But again, it's so limited. But there is one thing which is the panacea for all emotion, all thought. That is seeing the nature of emptiness. When you begin to see the nature of emptiness, because the nature of emptiness is the nature of all thoughts, the nature of all emotions. When you remain in that state, all the thoughts get transcended. All the thoughts get liberated. And that's what the practice of meditation is so profound. We begin with the practice of shamatha meditation. So in shamatha meditation, which is calm abiding mind, first, your first step working with your mind is to recognize the thoughts. Now here you don't make a big issue of your thoughts, how we usually make in our day-to-day life. You see the thoughts as just mere thoughts arising from your mind. Emotion, just emotion arising from your mind. In fact, the word emotions then get even more grosser. You just, at the moment a thought arises, you just see that as an arising thought, simple. Or you can say, labeling thought. We label, this is good, or this is bad, this is yellow, and this is red. We label them. But before we really make any kind of structure, we make it into any kind of neurosis. The problem is, thought is silly, its essence is emptiness. But the misconstrued intelligence, we don't see the reality, rather we get caught up in the habitual pattern of our mind. And that is the problem. So, someone who is used to aggression has anything he or she sees and thinks, turns to aggression. Someone who is jealous, see, everything he or she sees and think about turn into jealousy, predominant. So then rest of all the neuroses, they all begin to manifest. We get habituated and we see them as real. Again, the very earlier what we talk about, the appearance, being caught up in the appearance as seeing it so real rather than seeing the utter open nature of their thoughts. So now I think we need to, in practice of meditation, instead of building up and making it complicated, you need to go to the origin of thoughts. You need to go to the back, reverse back, instead of pushing forward with the first and second and third and fourth and fifth, sixth gear. Now you just put a reverse gear and see to the origin of your thoughts. The origin of your thoughts, when you sit, when thought arises, instantly you recognize the thought, which normally you would not do. And what happens when you don't do? You get caught up in that habit of seeing everything so real. And then, as I said, that's where factionalism happens, extremism happens, neurosis. Because of the grasping nature of ignorance, we grasp to everything, and everything is so deadly real, deadly serious. And that's where everything goes wrong. Therefore, like chain reaction of deadly nature of samsara, vicious circle, happens from that. The birthplace of samsara is that ignorant or grasper. So now, instead of rushing instantly with that, you just see the thoughts. And moment thought arises, you recognize and then let go. Don't need to grasp it. You just rather, so with your breathing meditation, those who are doing breathing meditation, or those who are doing meditation with an object, focus your mind to that. But normally during meditation, Thursday we do breathing meditation. So, thoughts will come. Just simply recognize, that's it. No need to make, some kind of big circus, some kind of issues, or something like, oh, this is so compassionate thought, and I feel so great. Again, then, you will make your trips out of that. So whether it's good thoughts or whether it's bad thought, simply recognize and then just allow the mind to be free. Don't go after that. That's the first stage of learning how to have a relationship with your inner mind finally. Instead of going after, wavering thoughts, now finally you have a grasp to your mind from the very beginning, from the original original ground, or its origin. You have some grasp to your mind, and then through a breathing meditation, you remain, and then one important thing, mind should be clear, or means awake, or means in some way alert. Alert, awake, clear, clarity is very important in meditation practice. Meditation done with drowsiness, meditation done with sleepiness, meditation falling asleep are no good meditation. In your next life, you will be born a groundhog or bear who sleep in the den for 6 months and then they wake up in the springtime. Probably those who did meditation wrong way, probably born as a bear, I guess, or groundhog. It's called dushemepe nyumjuk. Like they don't have, of course they have a perception, but the perception is so drawn within, If your mind gets so absorbed within, what I mean is absorbed within, then you don't know what's happening in front of you. You don't see the color. You don't hear the voice. Like someone doing like this, sometimes they'll try to wake you up, then even you still like stupid. That's not a good meditation either. That's called stupid meditation. Because you're too much absorption into your mind, too much focus, absorption, and you don't know what's going on. It's more like a darkness in your mind. You don't want to do that meditation either. No, you want to do a meditation with too much thoughts wavering, going after, everywhere. Like you poke the nose of everyone's business, what's going on in the world, and that kind of mind is totally lost mind. So you're not going to find balance and sanity in your mind through that kind of approach either. To find basic sanity, to find basic goodness in the mind, you need to have a clear mind, because your nature of your mind is basic goodness. Your nature of mind is basic sanity. So if you allow the mind to be in its own nature, which is clarity, mind nature is clarity, simply clarity, then the awareness begins to function in that way. And then, instead of our thoughts and emotion turning into paranoia or turning into enemies, as it is said, your thoughts becoming your friend or your thoughts becoming your enemy. Your projection become your, love and hate relationship with your projection, or your thoughts becoming your enemy, or your thoughts becoming your friend. We all want our thoughts to become our partner, our friend, supporting us harmoniously in liberation, awakening. We don't want our thought to be burdened to us, our mind to be burdened, to be uncomfortable living within oneself. Those are definitely experiences of ignorance and neurosis. So how do we now come to deal with this neurosis and ignorance? First stage is shamatha meditation, where you sit in the right posture and follow the instruction very carefully, and relaxing your body. Even from your chin, not like this, just straight and relax. And your Tibetan word is Semba Niltu Papa, how to have your mind rest in its natural way. Relax. And then breathe. When you breathe out, your mind is just there, awareness is there. You don't need to worry about your awareness being there or not, because if you don't realize, then you probably will be, either you lost your consciousness, you are like unconscious, or you'll be dead, so to speak. So as long as you're alive, you don't have to worry about it. In fact, even when you die, you don't know you're dead. So anyway, so have the consciousness present there, and then thoughts will arise. All kinds of habits that you build up, those thoughts will begin to come. And when they come, don't go after them like what you do usually. Because if you do, you'll be again caught up in the grasping nature of seeing everything so real, and then your friend is real, enemy is real, your aggression is real, your desire is real, your jealousy is real, your envy, everything so real, and it's the biggest stupidity the mind can ever experience, actually. It is totally ignorant to see the thing which is so interdependent, open, luminous quality of the mind, seeing that into, like we put that into a so narrow mindset. Because of that, we couldn't see in life, expansive view. We always have narrow mind. And you can change that. You can drop that mindset. And you can really now, sit. And while you're sitting, allow the mind to be open and see the thoughts, and don't rush out. Go after the thoughts. Don't go after the thoughts. No, you try to suppress the thought. If you try to suppress, it will revolt back. It's not going to work. If you try to go after, you just simply went after wavering. It will again not work. So you just simply allow that. Allow the mind to purify itself. because you have the inherent nature of basic goodness, basic sanity, which can do that, and that's your fundamental nature. You can overcome all ignorance because you have basic goodness, because you have basic sanity. You have the inherent wisdom to strike that ignorant within the mind. So, therefore, when you sit and meditate, very easy, just simply, allow the mind to rest and then follow your breath. When you breathe in, your awareness is with the breath. When you breathe out, your awareness. Any thoughts come, you recognize. Don't wonder after that, or don't try to absorb into it. Even the thought of guilt, even the thought of bad, even the thought of good, they're all projection of your mind. Just allow them to arise and let go. Let them subside. It's like the ocean and the ocean wave. All the waves come out of the ocean, it will subside back into the ocean. Same thing, your mind. All the thoughts will arise from your mind and will dissolve into your mind. The problem is we get so messed up because grasping and try to condition in this way and condition in that way, and therefore our life gets so complicated and so much endless confusion because we have not allowed the mind to be in its natural state, in its clear light state, in its luminous state. So now let's do a sitting practice. We shall meditate now. Any question? Okay. So I heard today, the meditation is for 1 hour. That's what is written. Okay, so then we will conclude here. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the name, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly arises. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. By this merit, may all beings gain omniscience, thus defeat the neurosis. And what's the rest word? From the birth, old age, sickness, and death.
The neurosis and negative enemies, which are the enemies.
Say it from the beginning. By this merit,
may
all beings gain omniscience, thus defeat the neurosis
and negative
action, which are our enemies. From the birth, old age, sickness, and death.
From the ocean of cyclic existence, may all
beings be liberated. Yeah. So thank you. Please make good aspiration, and then tomorrow for the next few days I'm doing teaching on the death and dying, the experience of very important teaching. This is how to approach death on different levels, what to do during the time of death, dissolution of elements and dissolution of our red and white essence, and then consciousness, how it goes through the different 49 days experience, how to deal with that. Very important. So I'm going to give teaching tomorrow evening, Saturday from what time? 9 to 12, and Sunday 9 to 12. Okay? Thank you, everyone. So, good night.